Well, hello everyone. I see you made it back for part two. You're wondering the rest of the story, so I'm going to give it to you. As I was talking about that gumball machine, I'd be able to get that gum out with that penny, turn that handle back. That was short-lived. You know, after that night and the following day, we was able to do it for a little while. And then it was probably a couple weeks before we made it back to the station where my mom had taken us. Like I said, we didn't hang out there a lot because we were young. But one day my mom had to do some running or something, so she dropped us off. My dad was working. She said, "I'll be back." So it was all four of us kids, including my sister. And like I said, my sister's younger than me, a couple years younger. So she's probably only about 3 at the time. Anyhow, my dad was busy going out and pumping gas, and in that gas station there was an old bus seat sat in there. You know, guys come in, have coffee or something, they sit down and BS. And so my dad would sit us down on that bus seat and told us to stay sitting there and not get up, and he would go out and pump gas. For some reason he didn't want us up and running around in the station, you know. And so anyways, he'd gone out and pumped gas, and he'd come back in, and my sister had gotten up off that bus seat and kind of running around, and pretty soon another customer come in, needed some gas, so my dad told us to sit down and sit still, don't be getting up and running around. Well, dang bugs flying around. I'm over here at my mom's, but anyhow, my sister had gotten up and running around, and us boys sat there on that bus seat and said, "Get over here and sit down, get over here and sit down, and you're gonna get in trouble." And about the time just before my dad was coming in, my sister went over to that gumball machine. You know how girls are, can't sit still, twirling around and stuff. She grabbed that gumball machine by the post. It sat on a stand, homemade stand. It was a disc from a farm disc, you know. That was the base, and it had a steel pipe, and then it had a thing on the bottom that mounted to the bottom of the gumball machine. Well, she grabbed a hold of that stand and was twirling around it, hanging on to it, and going around in a circle. About the time my dad walked through the door, she tipped that gumball machine over, or started tipping, and my dad caught it just before it hit the floor. He stood it back up and grabbed her, and I think he might have swatted her butt and told her to sit down, you know. And so she did. A few minutes later, another customer come in, and my dad told us to sit there and not to be out of our chair or get off that bus seat. So we're all sitting there, and my dad went out to pump gas, and lo and behold, my sister got out of the seat, and we kept telling her, "Get over here and sit down, you're gonna be in trouble." And lo and behold, she starts swirling around that gumball machine, hanging onto that pipe or the stand that was made, and twirling around on that darn thing. And as my dad was coming through the door, same thing, it tipped over, but he didn't get there quick enough to catch it. It hit the floor, and gumballs everywhere. Glass went flying. So of course my dad was mad, took care of the customer, you know, got their money, gave them their change, and out the door they went. My dad grabs the broom, starts sweeping it up and yelling the whole time. Swept up the gumballs and dumped them in the metal trash can. I'll never forget that metal trash can he dumped the gumballs in. It sat in the bathroom, because right in that old gas station right in the corner is a bathroom, and all it consisted of was a toilet and a sink. It wasn't very big, like a little closet, and there's a shelf up above that toilet. And he took the base of that gumball machine, set it up there on that shelf, and just kind of yelled at us kids, and it's my sister's fault, but anyhow, yelled at us. How am I going to explain that to so-and-so, which is the owner of the gas station, and it's his gumball machine? But anyways, when he comes in to empty that money out, he's going to be mad his gumball machine's broke. We never did hear nothing about that. You know, sometime after that my mom and dad ended up splitting up and getting a divorce, and my dad moved down to Omaha, and my mom ended up in Lincoln, Nebraska with me and my sister, and my 2 older brothers lived with my dad for a while until a few years later. But anyhow, that's the story of the gumball machine. Leave it to a sister to ruin things. Anyways, I'm going to let you go. I hope you enjoyed the story. See y'all later. And don't forget, I love you. Bye.